everyone, and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling podcast here on YouTube, and hopefully in a few other places here in the very near future. I'll have to take a look at how to set up everything else. I'm kind of used to YouTube, but I'm looking to set up a couple of other areas to go along with everything. But this GodSaw's Turnbuckle is going to be focusing on Smackdown Live from May 16th, 2017. And this was an okay episode of Smackdown. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't that great, but it was a decent episode going into the Backlash pay-per-view. They started off with the show with Kevin Owens in the ring already, and he was taking over Chris Jericho's highlight reel, calling it the Kevin Owens highlight reel now. So he's taking over the highlight reel because he's gotten rid of Chris Jericho and not expecting him to ever come back, which, well, we already know that's going to happen. He starts cutting a promo on AJ Styles, everything, and for his match on Sunday and everything. And he was about to bring out his guest. He's saying it in French. And I like the way he does it. It's like, I'll introduce my guest in French because I can. Which he does eventually get interrupted by AJ Styles, who comes out. He cuts his promo on Kevin Owens, talking about their match on Sunday. Everything in that sense, not a bad back and forth between the two of them. But he gets interrupted by Jinder Mahal, and I like how Jinder Mahal comes out there and says, "I'm supposed to be the guest on the highlight reel tonight," because and Kevin Owens goes like, "Yeah, he's supposed to be the guest tonight. I was going to let him come out here and talk about his match with Randy Orton for the WWE title on Sunday." And of course, as they're all cutting a promo together here, you had Jinder Mahal basically start cutting a promo on AJ Styles, saying what he's going to do to Randy Orton, he's going to do to AJ Styles right now. So, which did set up the match between AJ Styles and Jinder Mahal, and this was a good match. I did enjoy this match. I thought it came off rather well. Kevin Owens was on commentary throughout the entire thing. It was your typical style of what you've been seeing with Jinder Mahal recently. You had the Singh brothers out there. They kind of get involved in everything. They distract the referee while Kevin Owens hits AJ Styles in the knee with the United States title, which causes Jinder Mahal to actually get the victory. Overall, the match between the two of them, I thought was rather well done. It's not like it was a 5-star match or anything, but they put on a good match. AJ Styles did a really good job in the match. Jinder Mahal did really good as well. I've been enjoying Jinder Mahal's stuff as of late. I don't know how I really feel him going into the main event scene still, but I feel like the fact that he's been put in the main event scene with Randy Orton, he's really run with it pretty well, and he's done pretty well for himself. So, like, they gave him this opportunity, and I think he's done pretty well for himself going into this. And also having him go over in this match again, they continue to make Jinder Mahal look as strong as possible going into the match. Yes, even though he needed interference and everything, and they're going to play up, I guess, a possible knee injury with AJ Styles going into his match with Kevin Owens as well. We'll see how everything ends up going on that one for Sunday. But overall, good match, not a bad segment, but nothing spectacularly great. I think I've gotten kind of used to SmackDown being a lot better in most senses with the storylines and everything. That this one just came off as okay. It wasn't like there was any crazy lows or anything like that. It was a rather decent show. Up next was another episode of the Fashion Files with Breezango and with Breezango. So Tyler Breeze and Fandango. This was really good. The stuff that they've been doing with Breezango with these Fashion File segments have been really good. Like, the first time around when I saw like the Law and Order style font and everything come up there and that voiceover to go along with it, it was like I was sold on it. This one was probably their best so far, with Tyler Breeze coming in after going undercover as a janitor, and Fandango doesn't even recognize that it's him for the time being. It's like, oh, but he is here, and he takes off the mustache and everything. It was pretty good stuff. Rather cheesy, rather corny, but overall fun to watch. The stuff that they, and it seems, and because you see them come out later in the night against the Colognes, and they seem to be getting over a little bit more again with the crowd, just based off of these segments. But before that match, you had a backstage segment with Jinder Mahal, or not with Jinder Mahal, but with Randy Orton talking, basically cutting a promo on Jinder Mahal, and basically saying the reason why people don't like Jinder Mahal is because he's an ass. No other reason. Nothing much here. Nothing really much to say about that one. So this does actually bring us to the Colognes going up against Breezango. Decent enough match. Breezango goes over in this match. Kind of building them up going into their program with the Usos at Backlash. The Usos come out afterwards. They cut another one of those very intense promos. Like, these guys come off kind of as horror filmish almost in their promos right now, in the terms of it's not paranoia, it's just the Usos. Like, they talk about this violence that they do and everything in that sense, but we really haven't seen it yet. But they have a chance of doing that on Backlash itself. So again, I've been liking the promos that the Usos have been doing as heels. I think they come off really good. They come off really intense. They do come off really loud as well, but I have been enjoying their promos so far. Up next was Shane McMahon coming out. He was coming out for the contract signing for the 6-woman tag match, which for Sunday, which was Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky Lynch going up against Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. And of course they have James Ellsworth there as well. And this promo, you know what? These contract signings with their promos have been really good, especially James Ellsworth stuff. He's doing a good job of getting heel heat. And I love how he boasts about everything, about each one of the women, and he just ends it with a type moment. This was some pretty good stuff. I like the stuff from Becky Lynch and Charlotte and Naomi, and Natalya cut a really good promo as well. This does lead to a quick brawl, and they do get pulled apart really quick between Carmella and Naomi, which Shane McMahon immediately makes a match for after the commercial break. So the match with Naomi and Carmella, okay match. I feel like this has a heel turn coming on the face team going into Backlash. That Backlash match, you have a heel. You feel like a heel turn's coming. I don't know if they're going to go off and do it, but the match itself was okay between Naomi and Carmella. Again, a bunch of interference because you had both teams out there. The referee, Naomi gets distracted trying to help her teammates outside. She gets rolled up by Carmella, and Carmella picks up the victory. Like I said, okay match. Just a lot of interference, everything in that sense. I thought it came off. It did what it needed to do. That's pretty much what it did. It did what it needed to do. So up next, you had a backstage segment with Dolph Ziggler. He was cutting a promo on Nakamura, on Shinsuke Nakamura, for their match on Sunday, and he said he was going to be like, being the professional that he is, that he was going to go through and find all the great moments of Shinsuke Nakamura in WWE. Obviously not counting NXT in any way, shape, or form. So he goes in there, they start showing it, and then it's just like, footage not found. And then, of course, he shows a video package for himself, showing everything that he had done within the company. This wasn't bad. It did what it needed to do. And like I said, this was probably a lot better than their segment where Dolph Ziggler tried to interview Shinsuke Nakamura, and doing that bit where he's like, "Oh, let me translate for you for people who didn't understand" type things. I didn't really care for that one. This is a little bit better. Did what it needed to do going into the pay-per-view match. I feel like like if they give this one time and everything, they can put on a really good match with the way that Dolph Ziggler can bump and sell, and also same way for for Shinsuke Nakamura, the way he can usually sell inside of a match. I feel like these two could put on a really good match Sunday, and I feel like they're going to give them time to allow that to happen, especially with everything going into. Like you feel like they're going to push Shinsuke Nakamura really hard, really fast in this company, and we'll see where everything goes with Sunday. I can't imagine them putting Dolph Ziggler over in this match in any way, shape, or form. You would imagine that they would have Shinsuke Nakamura go over. Like there's no reason not to put Shinsuke over. Up next was a Sami Zayn promo, and he was basically announcing that he had a match with Baron Corbin at Backlash. He kind of assumed that's where they were going with everything. He talks about how Baron Corbin kind of subtly fears Sami Zayn because it just reminds him that he can't necessarily put Sami Zayn down, which does have Baron Corbin come in and attack him and basically say that if you don't stay down now, I'm going to put you down permanently in our match on Sunday. So he's kind of trying to tell him not to show up. Not a bad backstage segment, but nothing spectacular in any way. But again, does set up a match for the two of them going into the pay-per-view. So this leads us to the main event of the night, which, by the way, they announced, they said Rusev was going to be on this show. He didn't show up in any way, so I guess they're saving that for another time, in some way, shape, or form. But the main event, which was Randy Orton going up against Baron Corbin, this was a good match. Corbin did look rather strong in this one. You would kind of assume that they're kind of building him up to probably face Randy Orton at some point in time for the WWE title. At least that's how I feel. They do have Orton go over in this match clean, which was, I thought, a decent match in the end. Mahal comes out afterwards, and as Mahal is cutting a promo on Randy Orton, the Singh brothers attack him from behind. This does eventually have Mahal get into the ring when it looked like Randy Orton was kind of getting the control, and it ends out being where Mahal lays out Randy Orton again making Jinder Mahal look very strong going into the pay-per-view, which makes me assume that they're probably not going to have him go over at the pay-per-view in some way, shape, or form, but we'll see how I feel about that later, because I am planning a predictions video for down the line here, not only for Backlash, but for NXT TakeOver as well. But overall this week on SmackDown, it was an okay show. It was like you kind of like storyline wise, I've kind of grown accustomed to SmackDown being a lot better than what it was. Back when they started doing the Bryan split again and everything in that sense. I think they're doing fine, but this show just came off as okay. It didn't come off as really bad. I guess a couple of low points on the show, but there's not much. Like, their lows on SmackDown aren't as bad as the lows on Raw in the terms of, like, being bad. So, usually, like, whenever you see something that's not necessarily all that great, it's like, oh, that's kind of bad. No, it was just okay. It wasn't as bad as you think it was, type thing, because you kind of got used to something else with SmackDown side. So this was an okay show going into the Backlash pay-per-view. And that's pretty much it for SmackDown this week. That is my review for SmackDown this week. I thank you for tuning in to GodSaw's Turnbuckle. I thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.